Welcome to the Spinwhiz Comics Show.
Whoa.
From Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us for exclusive interviews with the publishers bringing you the newest titles in indie comics, webcomics, movies, and more.
No way.
And now, here's your host, Jeff Palumbo.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining the Spinwhiz Comics Show. If you don't know me already, my name is Jeff Palumbo. I'm the owner of Spinwhiz Comics. I'm also your host for tonight, and every time I do this, it's great to have you here. This is our second ever stream on Facebook. Amazingly enough, we were doing Twitch for about 7 months, and we have flipped over and said goodbye to Twitch and hello to the Facebook. So welcome to the stream. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you really liked it. It's we do this every Wednesday and Sunday, and then we drop them into YouTube. So if you are one of the YouTube peeps coming to hang out, don't worry. The links are going to be below. We'll be able to hook you up. We have a great guest for you tonight. It's somebody that I have met through a mutual friend. His content is ridiculously good, and I'm not saying that just because he's on the show. I don't do that. It actually is wonderful, really well done. He's had some trials and tribulations just because he's been doing it for so long that we're going to get into. But great dude. He grew up in the 80s like I did, which makes him even more awesome. Not to say anybody that didn't grow up in the 80s isn't awesome. I'm just saying that you get a bonus gold star if you did. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't know why you want to talk to me. It's not a big deal. I am here the whole time. But so let's bring him in. Ladies and gentlemen, the infamous Howie Knoll.
Hi.
There you are.
Hey, having me, Jeff. Appreciate it.
That's it, man. I'm happy to have you here. Honestly, we met through Marlon, maybe, I don't know, 4 months ago.
Yeah, think about that. Yeah.
Relatively, out of a lot of the people, you're definitely one of the newer publishing partners. But I have to say this: you're also one of the most proficient in the industry. Like everybody knows who you are.
Well, it's a good thing. I hope. I hope it's been over 10 years. Way over 10 years doing this, so that's good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, and nothing bad. That's the other thing, is everybody has something nice to say about you.
Well, I'm sure we could find somebody if we try hard enough.
Well, I mean, everybody has something to say about anybody. Amber, welcome to the stream. So let's get right into it. Let's first talk about Paranormal, because we have a lot. I think that while comics is one thing, the comic industry is in a flux right now. And I want to get into that. And I think that is going to be one of the bigger things that we speak about tonight, because a lot of people have kind of been talking about it here, there, everywhere, but it's really affecting everybody. But first, I really want people to know about your awesome title, Paranormal. We have it on the site right now. I'm going to drop that link in here. Again, if you're watching on YouTube after the fact, just look below. It's literally, scroll down. It's in the description, and you can find it. It is, part of it is free to read on spinwizcomics.com right now. And what we ask is, if you read it and you like it, then you buy the PDF, and we're going to have print on demand in the next month, and you're going to be able to buy that too. So hook up our indie friends. This story is amazing, especially if I might say, if you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it's like a cooler version of that.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's a huge compliment. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Buffy, but I think this has an edginess to it that's better.
Yeah, it's not, well, it's definitely, I would say, edgier because I'm not limited to what probably the standards were for television at that point, what he could do and what he can't do. Yeah. And I have no budget restraints, unlike what they had to deal with on that show. I have the restraints of just imagination, so you can do a lot more. She's her backstory is completely different than a Buffy, and but I love Buffy and Sarah Michelle Gellar, and that series was a big influence on me. Tara is a super fighter and badass, and I would think there is a deep edge and a lot more crazy stuff can happen in Paranormal than you've seen before in any other comic that purports to be paranormal or ghost.
I would say so. Do you want to go a little bit more on what the story is about, like how she got her powers, or just started ass kicking?
Yeah, sure. So Paranormal is the story of a paranormal investigator who shares more with who she's fighting than she would like to admit. She fights monsters, and some would refer to her maybe as a monster herself due to her mysterious alien origins. She's on a path for revenge in issues 1 through 4 to find the demon that killed her famous novelist mother, Sarah Normal. And it's haunted her ever since because her mother was always intrigued by her abilities. Tara can see and speak to ghosts, and that's something that intrigued her mother, Sarah, as a horror novelist. Because she could just imagine stuff like this. Tara, her daughter, actually lived it.
Yeah.
And Sarah had a bit of a jealousy there about that, and she wanted to see what the dark side really was, because that's what she writes about. And she got a little too close to a demonic entity, and it cost her life. And Tara blamed herself for that, because Tara's adopted, and she had an inward blame that it's all her fault that this happened, that her gifts are a curse. So she went away to school, and she went to the Vatican to get trained in exorcism in preparation to battle this demon. So she comes back to her hometown to catch the evil force that killed her mother. And that's what the first full 4 issues talk about. And you're going to get an ending. Unlike a lot of mainstream stories or other things, you're going to get a conclusion to that hunt. I'm not going to drag you on forever and ever. We've got more stories after that, but this one Tara's gonna solve a mystery, or she's gonna die trying. So either way, you'll get your ending.
I love it. And I love the fact that people like yourself are tying the whole thing together, so there is a finale. And it's not one you have to read, 17 novels to get to and stuff like that. I think that's great. My comic is 20 issues long, and it's probably too long. But, I mean, but at the same time, it took me that long to get to outline and get the story across. It wasn't like, I'm just going to do 20 issues. It happened to hit on that 20 mark. And I probably could have made it a little bit longer, but I chopped a bunch. So for you're writing it, illustrating it, like you're the full end-to-end production team. Is that exhausting?
Man. It is. It is. It takes a lot of time. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of pressure. And I see that it's not the normal thing that is expected to in the medium, and with all the people in charge, they're not used to it. Even though when I grew up, it was about artists that are also creators and writers. The stories, it was one talent. So if you look at Art Spiegelman, he writes and draws, and Jeff Smith writes and draws, and Frank Miller writes and draws. So it was just normal to me. And then you go and do it, and people act like you've got 3 sets of eyeballs. It's just very strange. I've never understood that, but it's just what works best for me. And I got this story and I want to tell it, and I started with my first graphic novel, Mr. Scoodles, and I just wanted to tell that story. And then I wanted to tell this story of Tara. And I just really enjoy it. It's a big passion of mine. And by doing everything myself, I don't have anybody to blame but myself. So if things are delayed, that's on me, and I run at my pace, and I don't have to be in a fight with the anchor or anything. But I did do an anthology for the next series that Spinwhiz will see, for Season of Evil. There's half of that story is an anthology, and I worked with other creators, and that was fun. But I find that that's not my best suited ability or time. I'm not best at managing other creatives.
Mhm.
You know, my wife's really good at that. I'm not. That's not an ability I have. So that was a tough thing for me to be like, well, you know, to do that. But I did it. I can say I did it, and people can read it, and I don't have to do it again.
Yes.
But I like working. I will continue to do anthology stories with my friend Leonardo Gonzalez, who's a very talented artist. I work with him on short stories like every year or every other year, and we like doing that, and it's fun, you know. And he draws it, and then I'll write. So those are fun, like little summer stories, or we do one for Halloween. So that's fun. But doing it all myself, it's just, first of all, I can. Fortunately, luckily, you know, a lot of people can't. And luckily I can do that. So why not do it and tell the story and not have to worry about somebody else? Because, you know, as everybody knows, anything can change at any moment. And it's up to me. You know, it falls at my hand. Now that gets to be a burden when it comes to all the other things, you know, the business side. So that is tough. But as far as creating the book, I enjoy that, you know, and I can pencil and I can draw and I can color, and then I letter. You know, I do get help with editing though.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean,
we get it better every time. So
it keeps costs down for sure.
That's true. I don't pay myself.
No, well, yeah, that's right.
Me as the one of us gets paid, and the other forms of me, yeah, they're going to complain later.
Yeah, you're. Yeah, when they all come together in your head.
Yes,
that's the way I am too. And you know, I would love to do more comics, but it is just, the industry has changed so much in the last decade. And again, I really started getting into comics. Obviously, I've been reading them since I was a kid, but really business-wise about 8 years ago. But even in that range, Kickstarter has changed. The way that influence has changed. Artists and writers and publishing has drastically changed. Not
Absolutely.
so much, not for the better either. I think a lot of publishing has actually... well, we can get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole, I see it from a completely different view because I own a distribution portal. So that's completely different than what you may see, which is what a huge publisher may see. That's not, you know, that's in between an Image and us. And then somebody that is an Image or a Dark Horse or somebody like that. So before we jump into that, because that is really a fun topic, and I'll be drinking after it. You said you have other content you're working on. Are you allowed to talk about any of it? I mean, you're your own boss, but do you want to talk about any of it yet?
Well, not right now. I'm, as far as like, there's a new Paranormal series that we'll launch that's called Paranormal War, and that I have shared, and that is going to be the most action-packed Paranormal story that I've done to date, where it's just wall-to-wall stuff happening, and it's about tearing down the world I've made. So if you read the first Paranormal stories, you get to see this world and inhabit it, and then I'm going to destroy it all and see how Terra deals with it. So it's very exciting. It's like an event. It's the first time doing like an event for Paranormal. It's very exciting. So there's a lot of bad guys running amok. All the monsters that you ever wanted. It's basically going to be Terra versus every form of paranormal creature that exists. And I'm very excited that it's called Paranormal War, and I'm aiming it for a Halloween debut. And I'm interested in probably doing single issues for the first time in a long time, you know, individual issues that will print, and because I wanted to have that feel of an event like they did in the day. So that's really exciting. That I can talk about. Another project yet, it's still up here, so I can't share that.
Okay. Well, I think for that, what we can definitely do is, you know, maybe something fun is allow people to pre-order it with a variant cover that will only go for that pre-order. And then after that, we'll just do print on demand.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I love that.
normal.
And I was thinking sketch covers. You never know.
Ooh.
You know, I got time to draw here.
Heck
And
yeah.
we could draw them. Yeah,
That's
it'd be awesome. Yeah.
So you have people coming into the chat. I mean, Satori and Cody are saying hello. You know, Steve says hello, who's one of my buddies. You know, Lynn and Amber coming in. Like, you're really packing the house tonight, man.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, Satori and Cody. Satori is my good buddy Jason Hawes' daughter, and she's a ghost hunter. And Cody's a ghost hunter too, and they appear on Ghost Nation Travel Channel. So thank you guys.
Holy cow! I didn't know we have celebrities in
That's
the
where I roll. I roll with big time people.
Seriously, good for you.
Well, I study what they do. You know, those guys inspire me. Cody and Story are amazing paranormal investigators, and they do it, you know, not just on TV. I don't think people realize that they do that on their own time, man. That's what's inspiring to me, and that's what inspires Paranormal. So for them to check out the chat and take time to stop in here, I really appreciate it. You too. Thank you.
Great. Hey,
yeah, it was Cody's birthday too, so happy birthday.
And happy birthday, Cody. And then Robert coming in saying hello. And then, you know, for Tori and Cody, maybe that's something around Halloween. What we do is we bring you on and bring them on and just all of us chat. Very much a Halloween-esque type
I'm sure they have stories.
Type event. Promote them a little bit, see if we can help them out.
Well, like Paranormal, and for us, for every paranormal investigator, every day is Halloween. You know, that's what I wanted my theme of my series to be too. So every day in Tara's hometown, it's Halloween, because that's the best way to go, because you get candy.
Yeah, at that point, is Halloween a day off?
No. Well, I guess in Tara's hometown, you might want a day off because there's ghosts and ghouls everywhere trying to kill people.
It's a bad monster day.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's really a horrible place to live, and I don't know why anybody does, but I don't know.
Well, Sunnydale wasn't great either. It was a hellmouth, and people just, you know, it was hard to find living there.
People don't like to move. I've moved a lot in my life, and it sucks. And I think people just are smarter than me and realize that, you know, that moving sucks. So they just don't.
Yeah. Well, like in the Lost Boys, you know, they knew that there was vampires everywhere. They just dealt with it.
Lost Boys is one of my favorite movies of all time. And yeah, they were kind of stuck in an interesting situation because it was a divorce. She had no choice, you know, when they got to that time. The rest of the people in Santa Carla, they have no excuse. It is the murder capital of the United States, I think they said. And geez, guys, there's vampires everywhere, kidnapping everybody.
Yeah, and his grandfather knew.
He did. Yes, spoiler. Yeah. Spoiler for a 30-year-old movie.
Yeah, if you haven't seen a 30-year-old movie named The Lost Boys, then
please watch it.
Best of luck. Like, just go watch it because it's fantastic.
Yes. Joel Schumacher just passed away too.
I know.
Go watch it for him.
Yes, seriously. One of the things that I want to jump into before we get in the industry is since we both grew up in the 80s, in all these amazing 80s movies, I don't think there is a better decade in just what became cult classics across the board than the 80s. Now, granted, if you look at older movies in the 30s and 40s, a lot of those became classics. You know, there were great movies in the 70s. Your noir films were marvelous. And in the 90s, they had like the comedy level decade with Billy Madison and, you know, the Adam Sandler stuff. And then you had Will Ferrell and Chris Farley. Like that whole Saturday Night Live crew kind of went super comedy, where the first Saturday Night Live crew from the late 70s kind of took over the 80s. But then you had John Cusack and you had all these other people. When you write or think about stories, do any of those influence you? Do you think?
Oh yeah. I'm hugely influenced by movies of the 80s and the actual they used to make scary movies, that were fun. Mm-hmm. They were also fun. So that's what I want Paranormal to capture. And I think Stranger Things does that a lot. You know, they went back to capture that. But in the 80s, you had movies like Lost Boys. You had The Goonies. Mm-hmm. You had Monster Squad. A movie like Monster Squad, I mean, is perfect for me because it has the universal monsters and it has kids and teenagers going to battle with them. And it's all at once and it's treated seriously. And the monsters look like how the monsters should look. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing, you know, I grew up thinking that was normal, you know, that I thought they'd always make movies like Monster Squad, you know, when you're a kid, but they don't. And, that's the spirit I want, because I think when you watch a horror movie, you do, cause I'm a big horror fan and you watch it for escapism, but you also watch it to have fun. So I don't like the grisly torture kind of horror. I like where, you know, usually it's like a female protagonist, and she has a chance to fight back and win. That's why we're watching. I want her to win. I don't want her to die at the end. I want her to fight back against this monster that's been killing all these camp counselors and stuff. And I especially love Nightmare on Elm Street, especially Part 3. And that is a huge influence on me. And especially Part 3, you can see influenced in Book 1 and any of the hospital scenes. So you combine that love with 80s movies and my real life love of actual ghost hunting and paranormal investigation, combine them all together, and you have Paranormal. That's what we're going for. We're going for that spirit. We're going for a chance of fun, but there's really creepy stuff going, but it's okay because Tara's gonna beat the bad guys.
Yep, take care of business.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I miss the 80s. And Roxy's coming in agreeing with you, saying fight back and win.
Yeah,
I think that's the big thing. A lot of movies now, you almost don't want the hero to win. Like, they're almost written in an odd way that you're just like, you're not pumped up for them to win. Like, I think that's part of what's fun about those movies is you're cheering them on the whole time. And I don't think they do that anymore. I feel like they're almost all downers.
There's a lot of nihilism going around, and I think that's hurting us right now, because what movie do you want to pop on and escape with right now? What new movie could you pop on and escape with? I've been watching Dick Tracy from 1990, and I've been watching Ghostbusters 84, and I have to watch it on repeat. They make me feel good. They make me feel happy. There's escapism, right? There's a thing now. Everything's nihilistic, and I don't go for that. I don't go for nihilism, downer movies, And that was the thing that I hoped. I know Star Wars, when it first came out, it was so hopeful. They didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know, and that spirit, disappeared the past couple of years, where it's just a lot of nihilism, and it's sad to see. But I think it'll come back. I think hope's going to come back, and the good guy winning. Good guy or good girl winning to save the day, just because you can't. It's every hero dying is a bummer. Okay, and you get enough of that in real life. You don't need to see that. I think in entertainment, at least that's not what I go for. Some people like it, but for me, what I want to put out, I want you to be entertained and have hope, and know that you're here to have fun and escape. And that's why we put the stuff on Spinwhiz for people to read during this time. I want you to be able to check it out. If you haven't seen this, is this new? Because everybody's looking for new stuff. Here you go.
Yep. It's right there for you to read. And that's great. And Amber says we need heroes right now for sure. And I agree. I think that's what, even if you look at TV or all these shows coming out, it is very much like a downer. Like, everything is death. Everything is people getting just crushed. And the people that are the heroes are anti-heroes.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Yeah. And I love things with anti-heroes because I love The Sopranos and stuff. And you can't have all anti-heroes. Right. And I think what happens is one thing becomes popular and does it really well, like Breaking Bad, so well, but then people try to do that and they're not Breaking Bad. Yeah. And it happens, look how many superheroes there are, just because one time, Siegel and Schuster created a man that could fly. Mm-hmm. And so look at that. Look what can happen. And it's just, I think they come in ebbs and flows. So it's up to other creators to bring something new, and give people something different. And that's the cool thing about indie comics is you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Comics aren't just superheroes. They're all kinds of different stories. I've done an animated character. I've done a painter who kills people. I've done a girl who can see and talk to ghosts and also punch them. And I've also done an anxiety memoir. That's all in comics. It's all comics because it's my favorite art form. And so that's what comics can do. They're not just, guys in capes and stuff, which I love, but it's not just that. And I think in other places, we've been very conditioned here that it's mostly superhero when you name comics to think it's just superheroes.
Yeah.
But like other countries, they know there's more stories. Like Japan, you can have a tennis comic. So it's about showing, hey, these ideas exist and they can be about anything. And I think people are learning that on a bigger, but it's not a mainstream scale, even though you have shows made from stuff like Scott Pilgrim. I still don't know if people think, oh, that's a comic, like they should. Comic.
Yeah.
So,
and a good comic too.
Absolutely. It's amazing. And great movie too. And I think, so I want things like that help, and that's what we're all, I think, should be working towards that. We all have individual stories and new things. And now with the way everything is, that this is the time to discover something new and give it a chance, because, people are working their dreams out on paper for you, and just check it out and support. And if you can, in any way, sharing is supporting.
That's what I tell people.
Liking is supporting, like these things, like that helps so much. You have no idea how much you know what, I can't get the book, let me share it with somebody that might like it, but I put everything online. I started doing web comics, so reading is supporting. It's that simple. And Spinwhiz, you can check out Paranormal for free, 1 through 4. Reading is supporting. Check it out.
Right. Links are in the chat, and if you're on YouTube, they're right below. And if you're on the podcast, go to spinwhiz.com and just look up, search Tara. It'll pop right up. It's right there. It's for you to read. And I think you bring up a good point about indies specifically, is the fact that we are not put into that Marvel or DC box that needs to fit in a very perfect formula. And there's all these great stories. There's all these great art types and art styles that are outside of that very specific. There are different styles within even Marvel and DC. However, you see that they all start to kind of gravitate towards a core, and then they kind of go off from that. But I see all sorts of really great different types of indie content where somebody might say, this art looks like crap, but I might look at it and be like, that's cool. Like, I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
And I like seeing that kind of stuff.
Right. And I was, trained to be a professional illustrator. So I draw in a certain way for each project. Okay. So the style I use in Mr. Scoodles is different than the style I use in Paranormal. Paranormal has a look that is a tribute to Mad Magazine and Mort Drucker and a caricature style, and Angela Torres, who I grew up reading, and I love that look. And I was like, why can't every comic should look like Mad Magazine? That's what I thought. So I wanted to make a comic that looked like Mad Magazine and is a throwback to that. And some people, when you do that, people are like, what the heck is this? This doesn't look like every other comic. Okay. And it's like, it's a purposeful stylistic choice. So then you come out with Float that has every different style, a style that doesn't look anything like Paranormal, and then blah, 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 and they're like, oh, you do other styles. Yes, I do other styles pertaining on the story. That's just what I do. I can make a logo for you that looks different. It's not going to look like my live caricature style, which will look different than a portrait. It's like, I think that's the fun in art for me, that I can change up and do different things, and, depending on what you need, and I think the art should match the story.
Yeah.
And does that happen in huge corporations? No. They don't match the artist to the story. And that's just, for me, that's the way I think it should be. You should match, but it's just personal choice. But I want to show that there's other things out there for people. And sometimes you get a little pushback, like, oh, this doesn't look like everything else. And it doesn't have to, it's made to look a certain way to match that theme. It's, and that's the fun of this medium.
Yep.
You can also, you can make movies look completely different for the story. And that's what I think comics should do too. I think just like animated features, if you think of 101 Dalmatian, it has that specific look because that's how Disney was doing their animation. It doesn't look like Snow White, and it doesn't, it just has that specific look.
Yep.
And that's what I want each book to look like. And, I think that's cool. I think that variation is neat. And I think that's something that big companies can't and don't care to do. So I think that's the fun thing of indie. I think that's cool.
They don't want anybody to go outside their brand guidelines. is basically what it
Right.
comes
That's
down
what
to.
they're built upon. Yeah. That's what they're built upon. And,
Yeah.
and or a lot of things that'll happen with a lot of artists that were in Artist Alley, they'll say too cartoony. I'm like, it's comics. These are cartoons. I never knew how that's an insult. And that's an insult that's thrown at a lot of artists out there hear this. And I just go, I've said this since I first heard it. I couldn't believe when I first heard it, but I just say, do you guys know what you're doing? You're making cartoons. They're all cartoons.
Yeah.
But I mean, I saw a review of Snow White, and the reviewer said, honestly, it's just badly drawn.
Yeah.
That's what he said about Snow White at the time. So there you go.
Yeah.
You can't listen to every voice everywhere. And so it's just about doing the work and believing in yourself. And, fortunately, I have a core group of readers that supports me and have become friends. And we're moving ahead with Paranormal. Man, Paranormal has become a big, big part of people's lives. They love her, and they make me not give up. So she continues to fight, and if you listen to all this, you can't because people have told every artist they're wrong.
Yeah.
People have tried to derail people all the time, and you just got to believe in yourself and carry on and tell your story.
Yeah. Well, you know how many people have told me that Spinwhiz Comics will never succeed? And you'll never get over. You only have people that only have one title, and this, that, and the other thing. You're never going to make any money. And so far, they're true, because I've spent way more than I make. However, where people thought we'd only have, 10 publishers ever, I keep doing what I do, and I love what I do. And just today we checked, we have 83 publishers.
Wow, that's amazing.
In a year,
and it'll change around you, though. That's the thing.
Yeah. And but I kept going along that straight thing. I knew it was right. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew that it had a vision to get there. So a lot of business people are like, well, it's not going to do this. And I'm like, listen, it'll do just fine. You just have to give it time. And it's helping. It's helping indie people. And that's great. Yeah. That's what I want to do.
If you give indie creators a space where they still own their content, control it, and just give them a chance, I guarantee you'll see great things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. And you know what? Why not do it now when everything's changing? And everything that people thought, the stranglehold is falling apart, and, and people are looking for new options for reading. Hey, go to Spinwhiz, check it out. We want you to read it. I specifically said I want this free to read, and if people they can support it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can read Paranormal 1 through 4 right now on Spinwhiz Comics, and if you want to keep the PDF, if you want to support, if you're able to, because these are tough times, then you can, get the PDF and do that. And I mean, I appreciate it. The main thing is I want to give you a story to entertain you while we're going through this.
Yep.
And what also helps, since we do this, you can also give a positive review. So you read it on Spinwhiz, go over to my Goodreads, put up Paranormal, and you know what? Fight back against the negativity. Because a lot of people on Goodreads to tear apart indie authors, and I don't understand it. I really don't. Real lot of negativity on there. So if you like it, go over to Goodreads and give I don't know if they allow 5-star. Go give a 5-star. That'll be enough. Thank you. I mean, that's great. That would help a lot, because it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy some of the things you see, and that's an awesome thank you.
Yeah. And that's actually one of the reasons we don't have stars on Spinwhiz, is because people come in and they're like, this isn't Marvel or DC, 1 star. And I'm like, it's not supposed to be Marvel or DC. You're in the wrong place. You have to be more open-minded, understanding that people have different views on what art should be and what is good art, or writing. What story is good? What kind of, now granted, I will say, out in the world of art and writing, there is some crappy art and some crappy writing. But it doesn't mean that they're not trying. It just means that they don't have the experience yet. It takes time to learn. You're not going to tell a 12-year-old kid that is trying to draw that their art sucks because they're 12 and they're trying. Or somebody that's 40 that's just jumping into it and they're just trying, because just like working out, if you're trying, you're doing more than a lot of other people. And you don't want to rip people down who are trying to do something, even if it's their dream or not. Like me singing. I would love to sing in a hall someday that is just, like as part of a play, or not an opera, because I can't do that.
Yeah.
But I would love to. That is not going to happen unless they need some old bald guy that's like, and that's it. And then I walk off. But it just, can I sing? Sorta. Do I have the pipes that those guys do, or girls? No. Like, they're trained professionals.
I think we got to hear it.
No.
I think we got to hear it.
No. When we can finally get back together and we're at a conference, you can take me out for a couple drinks.
All right.
And
All right.
will
We got to karaoke.
Sing. So Deborah Ward coming in saying she loves you, or we love you. And
Deborah,
then Mike Carter coming in.
Hey, Mike.
So you got lots of fans coming in, which is great. One thing I want to transition to, and you made that bridge for me. Roxy's like, sing. No, sing. There will be no.
We might get singing if we can get enough likes and nice hearts. If you guys
likes and hearts. I actually need to throw those up. There's a way to do it on the stream where I actually see all the likes and hearts popping up.
That's awesome.
But I haven't done it yet, so that maybe next time. In the next one.
Maybe we'll get him to sing.
Yeah. So let's talk about the industry.
There's some. I see that. I'm a little delayed. I see some hearts. You see,
I'm not seeing them. Although I guess. Oh, and there's my wife telling me to sing. And so
I got an angry emoji.
My wife knows that I can't sing. She's just trolling me live, just so she can laugh upstairs.
Good for her. That's the support. Bust out some Hamilton, says Amber. I agree. Can you play "Wait for It" for me?
Yeah.
That's a good.
Seriously, burst out some Hamilton. You know what? Amazingly enough, Amber, my wife Tanya and I were actually going to be watching Hamilton this week, so I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it?
No.
Wait for it.
It's on Disney Plus, so we're getting.
That's my favorite song of the show. Wait for it, and also "Say No to This." So look for those songs.
Tanya wants me to sing Bon Jovi.
Dear Lord, living on a prayer.
I should, if I was drinking scotch during this interview, I probably would bust it out. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the industry, because you and I were talking a little bit before. You made a bridge to it earlier. We talked about it. Our industry, I was kind of saying over the last decade, it has changed in that the old school guys that we grew up with, like Cliff Richards and that whole crew, that was kind of, they started to transition out because social media started to get better. So a lot of the old, what I call the old school guys, kind of left. So when social media came up, they're like, it's not going to do anything. And all of a sudden, 10 years later, really a lot of influence is coming from these younger artists, or the guys like us who have done social media, but really the new 20-somethings who are fantastic artists, but have grown up with social media and really know how to use it really well. So before, where people were an artist and they were known for their art form, now they have to be duplicative in the fact that they have to be very social media savvy, as well as be a good artist, because that is where they're getting a lot of their draw for Kickstarters and things of that nature. However, in this last 6 months with COVID coming in, it has drastically thrown the comic industry on its head. Would you agree? Would you disagree? You want to go through some examples with me and kind of talk it out?
Oh yeah, I totally agree. And also, I think my concern for what's going on and what's happening is people are what's going on with some of the social media things is people are being trained for just an image and not storytelling.
Yep.
And I think storytelling is so important because that's our number one form of communication that we've passed down since caveman days, of telling stories. And I think they're important. And I like images and single images and stuff, but the Instagram thing concerns me because you have some comics on there, but we're talking that they're going to be like a kind of a Garfield situation, and you're relying on people maybe to swipe. Are they even interacting? I don't know. Can't really tell a long form story on there, and that's a very popular thing right now. But I communicate a lot on Facebook with my readership, and I also have a following on Twitter that I only can't get into the timeline too much because it gives me severe depression and anxiety. But I'm there to communicate out, and if somebody hits me up, I'll answer back. But I really I like talking to my readers and friends and on Facebook, as I can have communication, and I feel I can actually interact. And I like keeping everybody updated, and I'm able to control positivity on there, and keep that going and update people on the books. Everybody's been a part of everything with Paranormal via my Facebook. They see what goes on in our live, So you do have to be aware of that. And I can share a story on Facebook. I can share a whole page of a comic on Facebook. Now it's not going to get, and I can also link to my website on Facebook. With Instagram, I can't necessarily get you to click on my link. There's no clickable links.
Not until you have 10,000 viewers, or followers.
And so if I share it on Facebook, they're going to go to my site and read the comic, and that's what I need. And that's what I can just do more. And it's an important part of it. You do have to, it can be draining. Like I can't, you have to just don't post too much, post just enough, make sure you're keeping updated. But, people, I'm fortunate, people support me. People know what I go through. People understand when I have Kickstarters, I update you. I have some art. COVID threw everything out with the Kickstarter. Everything we got everything shipped this month. I've never had a postponed shipping in my life like we did under this thing. So we fortunately got all the shipping done, and I've never actually had to risk my life to mail things.
Yeah.
That was a experience. I had to risk. We risked our lives. Me and my wife risked our lives, here in Jersey to go mail stuff. It really puts it in perspective, right?
Yeah.
You're risking your life to mail stuff. And you know what? I knew I wanted to mail it to them because I wanted them to be able to read it and have some good times. I wanted them to get the stuff they bought because they deserve it. Is that what they bought? And I owe it to them. And you know what? It was worth it. It was worth it so they could read them and get the shirt and get stuff, And I was able to update them because I know them and they're cool. And that's what I want. I wanted to always shape the culture. I want a positive experience when you're dealing with my work, no matter the subject matter. I want you to have a good time with that. With that, I don't want you to feel you're under pressure with, and we want to have a campaign. If something happened, I just check up on everything. Okay. Here you go. I don't want, it's about the art and it's about you being able to like it and have fun. And that's what I want. A lot of people, some other people play games. Some other people, I had, there was a guy I used to know had his own agenda. That's really weird to me. I just want to tell these stories. You check them out. Hopefully you'll like them. And it's just getting to be where other people have other things going on. And I just realized just do the work and hopefully people check it out, give them something to entertain them. And I don't get caught up in the other things that are going on because everything's getting weird. And I'm just going to stay here. And unfortunately, I can just stay and do what I want. And I don't have to be associated with, massive, drama elsewhere if I can't help it, because I have enough drama. I make drama every day. When you have anxiety, you can make drama like that. So I don't need more. I don't need more like drama.
I think that's probably a whole nother stream that we can talk about anxiety in business and depression all sorts of other stuff. Christy Shin was on, and she was talking about all the stuff she's going through. Everybody's got something. And yes, I 100% agree with you that social media has become more about fighting a battle, even in comics, and less about, or it's just straight up the only time certain people post is when they have a Kickstarter or when they want to show, like they throw it out into the social sphere and expect people just to rack likes on it. And you do
that's when they friend request you, and you get the message.
You do a great job interacting.
Yeah.
And I think my wife is actually wonderful at social media. She does a great job and does a whole bunch of side projects for people. And we've had the discussion of people just throw stuff out there and that's it. And really the social part is what people are forgetting.
Yeah.
It's the media. They're just using it as a media outlet. It's the social part that actually generates a stronger influence for you and makes people want to know who you are. Like a lot of people are like, Jeff, there's only going to be 100 people that watch this interview. Yeah, but for people that are independent that and this is free, yes, you have a fan base in here that's coming in to talk to you about this stuff, and that's amazing. But you also have other people that are coming in, whether they're a fan of Spinwhiz Comics, whether they know me personally, or whether they're just a comic fan that they're finding, and that's introducing them to you. But that's the reason I like to do these even more, is because the shows and the conferences where people feel as though they can connect to you and they want to buy your content because of that, this hopefully makes a little bit of, obviously it's not a conference, but hopefully it does help in that people can connect to you, know who you are, so that when they read Paranormal, they're like, I actually saw this dude like on, the Spinwhiz Comics Show or Jeff's show or whatever they call it, that weird podcast.
It's the Spinwhiz Comics Show.
I like to have that branded as though, but
that's what the logo says.
I know, but it doesn't mean people are going to remember that. I mean, there is a big old. It's weird. It's backwards
in this corner.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
It's me actually. It's me giving a thumbs up like this.
Yeah, you keep doing it.
Well, I mean, I paid for animations. I'm not an artist. I paid for it. I mean, that's all.
Hey, that's more than most. You didn't just offer exposure. Good for you.
That's true. My eyes move and everything. It's like a creepy carnival person.
Yeah.
Not an actual person. I mean, like one of the, fun houses that you go into with the clown. Yeah. It's like, I
like the fun house. I think it's good. Hey, conversation's important, and people are looking to hang out. We're not getting a lot of interaction like we normally do. This is a great thing, getting to talk. Getting to see people. I'm getting to talk to everybody. I'm watching it. Let's see. I'm getting a lot of happy emojis for your logo. They like it. So
I'm glad. I get 0 emojis because OBS isn't letting me.
I'm seeing a flood of them.
So am I? I mean, I can. Am I seeing? I'll look on if I go to Facebook and watch. I wonder if I can actually see them go up. I'll have to turn those on so I can see them on mine. I guess maybe I didn't turn it on right.
Amber did the care one. I saw Amber do a care.
I saw a care. I see a lot of people laughing at and loving my wife wanting me to sing, and then laughing at the same time because they know that that'd be destructive.
Yeah, it's important for, with what's going on, it's important for people to hear communication, and that's why it's really cool we have this technology because, man, without human interaction of any kind, it's really rough. It's just, I'm a homebody normally, okay? And my wife will attest to this. I like just working, staying in the house, watch TV, but I like being in my office most of the day, and I don't like going out. Little did I know that when you tell me I shouldn't go out, and I basically can't, that I really don't like it. And it makes me flip out. I didn't know that my trips once a day to like Target or the comic store, or just, I didn't know how much they mattered until they took them. It was taken away from me.
Yeah.
And so I think this is I think shows like this is great. It gives me a chance to talk to people I wouldn't normally get to talk to, and gives me a chance to interact. And I think these are awesome. I think it's real great, and it doesn't, people are going to watch this. It's going to be up there. They can watch it forever.
And that's the hope, so let's talk one more thing and then I'll let you go because we're gearing up on 45 minutes and I'm taking up way more of your time than I had wanted to.
Oh, I had a good time hanging out. You were
great.
You were working, couldn't get past a half hour. You see that?
Well, yeah. So let's talk about, because everything is an uproar in our industry, and I say our industry because we're both in the comic industry. And while you are a content creator and provider, I'm a distribution platform, different business models, obviously, but they interact, which is great. But because Diamond has kind of been like, bye, like Diamond's basically gone. DC has found a different distributor. Marvel's kind of up in the air. They're not doing Marvel Unlimited anymore. That's all going over to Comixology. Comixology gives literally 0 Fs about anybody indie. I don't care what anybody says. It's not even because I own an indie platform. It's because as a marketing and business background, I can tell what they're doing. They just don't give a shit. But besides that, what do you think might happen? I have my own view of what I think might happen in the next 6 months and how things are going to tweak. Do you have any potential crystal ball type things that you want to throw out there and see if they come through? And I'll meet up with you in 6 months and we'll go through them. I mean, I'm not going to hold you to it, except for
I've been wrong so much this year about so many things, like legit wrong.
Well, 2020's been the suck. I mean,
yeah, I have no. Like, my predictions are for what I thought was going to be. I never thought we'd be dealing with what we're dealing with right now. I never thought I'd see the things. I thought I'd see people I know say certain things that hurt.
Ooh.
You know, I've never seen.
Wow.
Stuff that I've seen on all fronts. Like, it's emotional overload. As far as comics, a fun conversation. I never thought DC. I didn't think DC would team up with Midtown to become like their own distributor, and really puts a hurt on comic shops.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was confusing that when I interacted with Diamond, that they had non-art people judging my art when I'm a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I now going through an editorial submission process for a distributor? Why were some of the reps you were trying to talk to about making business, why would I find out that, let's just say, this is just an example, right? This isn't like literally what happened, but say a former lifeguard that has no creative background, a former lifeguard is telling me that books with my art don't sell. What? Why is that my rep?
Right.
I don't understand that. Very confused. Now let's just say hypothetically he's not there anymore. But still, look what happened. Look what could have done, right?
Yep.
Look what could have happened. Who knows? I'll never get to know. That kind of thing must happen all the time. And it's mistakes like those because you got people that don't even like comics, but they got the job.
Yeah.
They certainly don't like comics and they're not there anymore. They didn't care. They just wanted to insult, and they liked having power. And that doesn't help art, and that doesn't help the medium. And what I'd like to see, and I was told by conventions before, I said, who's choosing these artists on your convention? How many are artists? None. Nobody has an art background. Nobody? You know, if you go to like a magazine, back in the day, they had magazines, right? This is what's really sad, because I grew up in magazines. And we hardly have any now, you know.
We grew up with magazines.
Exactly. They were the art directors. They knew art and they studied art and they knew what the art would do. So why aren't there people with art backgrounds deciding what artists go in Artist Alley?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this a corporate thing where you have people that don't know art? I just don't get it. Okay. But that's it. It will all lead somewhere. Okay. When you set up a thing that began as an Artist Alley, it's for artists. It was about growing things. Hey, come meet the artists, come meet new books. And then it's less and less important. And it's more about TV shows and stuff. Okay. Now you look at what's happened in the world. Those cons were popular, the main reason at the end, before all this happened, was to meet a celebrity, get an autograph, get a photo. They didn't care about the artist. What are you doing in a virtual con? You're not really meeting them. And right. I guess you could have had an artist there drawing people and doing custom art. during the stream. So maybe it just comes back all around, maybe people will learn lessons that some things were being done wrong. That's what I would hope. I would hope that people would realize what was going on is wrong. I don't know, because if it goes back to business as usual, it's not good, because you're seeing that what happens when one of the two largest companies just said goodbye.
Yep.
And you weren't growing any indie talent. You weren't growing any new people. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was two guys who made a comic. And I know that was a long time ago, and I know things are different, but do you really not think that maybe if given the chance, something cool could happen again?
Yeah.
If just two people with a dream, or one person with a dream, gets a chance, they were able to do it. They put it out, they distributed it, it got sales, people liked it. That's just the natural way. Let it have a chance. Let it have a chance. And hey, if they want to buy advertising, why don't you let them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why is this not an option on different platform? Why is it not an option to say, hey, I want an ad? Well, I'll work with you. I got into Wizard Magazine, right? For Mr. Scoodles, my first book, Wizard Magazine. And it was one of the top indie books you should know about. People to this day, when I do shows, go, hey, I remember this from Wizard Magazine. Can you believe that? The impact of that. Think about if everybody is just given a little chance like that. And that didn't, I wasn't given that chance by other publisher. It was Wizard. The one woman in advertising, she was so cool. And she worked with me. Dude, do you know how special that is? Because it doesn't happen everywhere.
Nope.
And there's no Wizard Magazine anymore. But I hope she went on to lead a company, because she was amazing. And it's very special to get a chance like that, and they just treated you like you're a person. And that's Wizard Magazine, I mean, that's the top thing. They put me in the top indie books to know, and Scott Pilgrim was like the leader of the list. You know what I'm saying? And you just want a shot sometimes, and you just want the opportunity. And if people could just, it's just, some people don't want to give a chance. And so you got to make your own chance now. And luckily we can do it. Spinwhiz is giving a great opportunity. The books are on there. Go check out a bunch of cool creators and support them if you can. And also supporting just means reading, and then go into Goodreads, give them a good review, or follow them on social media. Give them a Twitter follow, or an Instagram. Share it to your page. Say, check it out. Do you have a nephew? You have a nephew. I gave my latest print copy of the Paranormal webcomic, just my nephew, and his eyes lit up. Kids his age haven't seen stuff like this. They haven't. They're on tab. They're just not. Look at that, a comic. Yeah,
paper blows their damn mind.
Yeah. But I think just seeing a story and saying, I made this. Check it out. He was like, you made this? And he's little. He's very little. And his mother said, I think it's special because you made it. Well, you guys all know me. You've listened to me. Go show him a book your friend Howie made. Go show kid the book. I get a friend, a guy I knew, wasn't a friend, but a guy I knew gave Paranormal, the 1 through 4, gave that to his daughter, because he was like, I don't want this. He gave it to his daughter, and he comes back and goes, it was the weirdest thing. She loved it. She read it multiple times. I'm like, why is it weird? I don't understand why my success is so odd to people sometimes, to lookers in. I had a lit agent. When they spread out books, okay, they'll have media come in. They'll have Hollywood people come in. Just write drawn to Paranormal. And she goes, it's the weirdest thing. She picked yours out of all of them. I'm like, why is it weird? It's always so weird to people. I don't think it's weird. If you show Paranormal to the right person, and the right person is just somebody I bet you they'll like it. You can tell who will like Paranormal. It's a cool, catchy thing, and it's just, if you get enough people, you can't give up on showing it to people, and that's just what I try to do. That's why doing interviews
keep pushing it.
Yeah, you just got to show it to that person. You never know. It just takes a bunch of people liking it, and well, hopefully, I made the story to be timeless, in a fun way, like the 80s. I think they can be timeless no matter what the clothes they are. It's just, I like hearing that, and it's so funny. They think it's weird. I don't think it's weird because I made it.
Yeah.
I want them to like it, and I think it's awesome, and finding out that somebody read it back to back and over, and that that little girl loved it. Dude, that's why I'm like, well, I got to continue telling stories with her. That's cool.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so as far as predictions, sorry, I got off track.
No, that's all right.
I guess my prediction is I hope people start taking chances. It's just a hope. Will they? I don't know. I'm pretty cynical, but how about that? How about people start once again taking a chance and maybe going back to their roots and publishing new stories with, I don't know, like creators that actually like comics? How about that? How about people that actually like the art form instead of a TV pitch? I mean, because a lot of things I'm seeing are TV pitches, and I don't, I do a comic. So I'd like that. I'd like for the art form to come back. But looking at what I've seen with corporate accounting, I tell people this: it would not surprise me if the big companies outsource their comics and stop printing in-house. So if you want a dour prediction, my prediction is the right accountant sees what's going on and says, why are we printing these ourselves? Why don't you outsource these? Because that's very reminiscent of when the wrestling war happened. If anybody's a pro wrestling fan, WCW was getting 3 million viewers. Do you know who would kill for 3 million viewers? Right? That's a huge amount.
That's a massive amount of people.
They canceled them with 3 million viewers because the accountant said, I don't like wrestling. The person in charge, Ted Turner, was gone. The person in charge says, why are we losing money on this? I don't even care about wrestling. And it was done. You get one callous person in corporate that doesn't care about comics, that doesn't feel an affinity for the floppy, like we love comics. It takes one person to go, we already have the intellectual property. Why not outsource it to, say, like an IDW or something, and they make them? That's my creepy Twilight Zone prediction, which in a year of Twilight Zone, why not, right?
Yeah, I hope in 2020, you're really just rolling. You're just rolling the dice, and you're probably going to hit 7 on that. So
yeah, let's hope in 6 months I don't hear that, because I really love the art form and I do not want to see that happen. But I just know the way some companies, if you see something that you don't, it's like a yard sale. You see something you don't care about, you're ready to let it go. That's just how I think big companies. I mean, who knows though? They just gave Zack Snyder a whole movie. I think they signed Affleck too.
I think they did. I think they did sign Affleck.
That's amazing. Yeah. So you never know. Hopefully my dour prediction is wrong. I've been wrong all year, so I'm not Kreskin. So I'm not the amazing Kreskin. So and now I feel all sad. Well, my dour.
Well, don't feel sad. I mean, Len came up and he says because businesses don't care about art, they care about the money, the end line, and that's the reason why they keep rebooting 80s films. They don't care that it's a good story. What they care is it made money before, and now it's 30 years later, so they can just reboot it, and the next generation will love it just as much. But you're missing the magic. And Len, I paraphrased for you. I didn't mean to that was the gist of it, though. I see it a lot. I work full-time in the games industry, and we see the same thing, is that you have people talking about that are making decisions in gaming that have no gaming background. They don't like games. They don't play video games. And I'm just like, then why the hell are you in this? Publishers. Like publishers having people that are trying to promote their games with an agency, and the agencies, well, I'll talk to them, or they'll try to pitch me something because of my position, and they just want me to see it. And I'm like, okay, and I'll ask them questions. I'm like, oh, well, what game is it? What game is it kind of like? Like if you were going to compare it to a game, and they're like, well, I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm like, what do you mean get back to me? Like you can't. This is a very simple question. It's a fighting game. Is it like Street Fighter, or is it more like that's a 2D side by side, or is it more where you can go around the ring, or is it something like Mortal Kombat? What is it like? And they're like, well, I have to ask the publisher. I'm like, have you played it? And they're like, no, I don't play games. Why in the hell are you here? And why is your company hiring this agency who knows jack squat about gaming?
Yeah.
Like that publisher is wasting their money on an agency full of people who don't know what the hell they're doing. And I see the same thing happening in comics. You have people making decisions that are both in a publisher and a print perspective, or just in general, that are great at one thing and piss poor at the other stuff. And it's going to end up destroying their company. Whether it's a publisher or distributor, or whether it's I've seen a couple artists that just say things and I'm like, what? Like, what? Are you sure you just want to say that? You don't want to delete that before somebody screenshots it?
Some people like tweeting more than creating, and I've been saying that for a long time. Some people like tweeting and YouTubing more than drawing and doing stories, and it's not about the art. And I just think it's about the art. I really do. I am at a loss for people that say they are in comics, but they really tweet more than they make books, or more than they do books. And then I seen them say things about just mean-spirited about comics and comic fans,
or just people.
And it's just horrible, because I don't understand how you're in a creative field and you lack empathy. Because you lack a basic empathy, and I don't understand how. But maybe that's them showing their true colors, and maybe that's them, the mask coming off, and people will find out. I mean, really, people find out, and that's just the way it is. It's not what I do, and I'm not into that. And that's the thing about doing everything yourself. You don't have to be into that if you don't want to, and you don't have to worry about it. I do comics. I have my crowd. I'm happy with it. I like meeting new people and discovering new writers. I want more people to be part of it. It's fun. And you know what? We're not part of that other stuff. I'm not into that. I'm into doing a comic, and I don't play the game that they're trying to start the game. Sometimes people come in and try, they shouldn't go near me with that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I don't either. I treat everybody with respect, whether you have 100 titles or you have one. It doesn't change how I view you. But I will say this. In the industry right now, again, I have a business background, so my background is pretty drastically different than most people in comics.
Right.
I just happen to be nerdy and love comics. But I see right now, and I guess I'm building up this platform to kind of, it was almost written and developed for something like this to happen, without it, obviously not the COVID thing, but like a disruption from DC. It was meant to capitalize on anything that really wanted. It's just that when you have two people working full-time jobs and then working from 10:30 until 1 o'clock in the morning, things move slower, because that's what happens. But what I see, and I'll be open-ended just because I don't want somebody to come back on me and be like, Jeff Palomo's at this, and it's not like that. Well, this is 2020, and honestly, everything's off the table. So what I see is that with Diamond going down, what I currently see a lot of indie guys doing, which drives me bonkers, is, first of all, they're constantly gravitating towards comicsology, which just makes me sick. And thinking that it's going to help them, and it's not. But I think the big piece is they want the industry to remain the way it was pre-COVID. And I'm like, you don't understand that you were just given the biggest gift ever as an indie publisher, but you're not capitalizing on it because you are trying to maintain the status quo and the structure that Marvel and DC built, instead of looking to other options of how you can actually bypass them completely. And I see that because, again, I see it because of what I built and what we're designing, and it's flowing in nicely into a disruptive nature like that. But for all these indie guys to keep saying, I mean, I don't not want comic book shops to go anywhere. Comic book shops are wonderful ways to interact with people and to get the brand out and to be part of something and to be part of that crew. I get that. But at the same time, the system is not built for indies to succeed in the current system the way it is, like Marvel and DC is. because it is built for Marvel and DC, and even Image has done a good job. But again, Image has been around for what, 25 years now.
Well, the distribution
30?
system is set up for it,
Correct.
and it's not helpful for the stores,
right?
With how it's set up,
or the publishers, or the
right.
indie publishers.
Yeah, and there was just so many rules set up, and it's just not
right. But I see a lot of indie guys going back and gravitating towards that, and I'm like, guys, the system wasn't built for you. It was built with a distribution model with Marvel and DC that literally designed it with Diamond.
Here's what will help if any creators listen to this, any fellow creators. This was mind-blowing to me. And everybody, when they grew up, was just so trained that they got to go through a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because that's the only way you're legitimate. If you go through if you get the deal. Well, you get the deal. Do you know if you get the deal, sometimes they don't put it out?
Mm-hmm. And
sometimes
they own it and you can't do anything with it?
And they want your advance back. Nobody thinks about that. If the book doesn't do what they want their money back. Or if it went, you might owe them money in a big way. Nobody talks about that, but they just want the deal. Everybody hears about this deal. A lit agent told me that with it was Float specifically, and I was looking, because I wanted to expand it because we did really well on Kickstarter with it, really well, and it resonates with people, and I want to be able to get it out and reach more people and help them. And the lit agent said, why are you coming to me to, because he really liked it, but he said this, why are you coming to me to get it published? You already made it. And I was like, what? And he said, you already did it. It got made and it was successful.
You did the hard part.
Right. And he said, what you made is more than what you'd get as an author, how you are from them, no matter what. And you hear that, and I was like, oh my God, that kind of revelation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like seeing the curtain pulled back in Oz, and you see the wizard is just a guy.
Yeah.
And that was like, I did it, but I beat myself up all the time, and I feel like perception is completely changed. And I was like, I did it. I still don't believe. It's just something like that. No, not many people are that honest.
No, that's right.
And they're just saying like everything's changing. So, why that think about that, because everybody still wants to be validated. There's just so many things you learn along the path, and maybe your path isn't the way everybody else's is. That's the way mine's been. Okay, I never got the easy way. I never got things handed to me. I never knew somebody. Everything I do, you work really hard. You try, and I don't have like natural luck of things. Just I'm not a natural lucky person. You gotta really work. If it's what you want to do, then you do it. And that's just, this is me also telling myself, don't give up. There's look at what this platform can do is a new way for people to check out things, and that's what's needed. Because this isn't for the mainstream. Because with Comixology, I had one of the top selling books. I was one of the top selling indie books on Comixology, and I got an SXSW, which I'm forever grateful. That was huge to be in that, be a part of that thing. They soon turned to the indie spotlight is turned to already hugely established big name people. And it's just, I thought it was an indie program. And I can't hear back, So what Spindrift does is, or Spinwhiz, it's indie, and there's nothing wrong with. I don't know why it's a bad thing to some people. It's a great thing. It's independent creators, and it's independent thought. It's new things.
And I tell people they should also have their comics on Comixology. Don't not put it there. I mean, that would be stupid. I'm not dumb enough to know that if you have that many millions of people with your app that you shouldn't put it there. That's ridiculous. What I'm saying is they don't give a shit about you, and they're not going to push you. They're going to push Marvel and DC, and then the top titles from Image, Boom, Valiant, Dark Horse, and IDW, because that's
and they're doing Amazon selected ones,
right?
So they already have a pitch made for a show. They have a comic,
correct? So
it's a show, and then they have a comic.
Right. So I'm all these guys that are like, I have to get in comiXology. I have to. Yeah, you should. But don't disregard other options, because your goal as an indie, not maybe yours, because you're actually a lot better off than a lot of indie guys. But indie in general, the goal is to get read so that you can make money off of all the other great stuff that you're producing. You have to increase your user base and readership.
Yeah.
And that's what they're not. That's not what's clicking. They're acting like Marvel and DC, and that, no, I made this. You need to buy it for $3.99 or a digital copy for $2.99. And I'm like, but you're missing the point. Nobody knows who you are yet. And by I mean nobody. Like, yes, you have 200 fans. That's awesome. But let's get you to 20,000 fans.
Which would be amazing.
But I mean, that's the scope of what I say, that people are so intertwined with Marvel and DC that they think that is the way it has to be done. And what I'm saying is now that Marvel is like, and I mean, they're there, but they don't care as much about the comics. They care more about movies. And DC is like, we're just going to do our own thing. And Diamond's like, ugh. Indie has the ability to step back a second, step to the side, and say, if I'm just getting into this, what would be the core of me making money? And the core is you need a readership.
Yeah.
And I have a whole nother thing we could talk about that offline. But what I think is, but if they do not transition in the next year, like this, the COVID time when people are stuck at home mostly, this is the best time for people to consume content. And they can either jump on the correct bus and really push it and get out there and create that awareness and find ways to create the awareness. I'm not saying always through my platform. There's all sorts of really cool ways you can do it. Although I appreciate you saying my platform. That was nice of you.
That's why we're here. It's the Spinwhiz Comics Show.
Yeah. That's not why we're here. That is definitely not why we're here. But the other piece is you can keep going the route of, we need distribution back. We need to do it like Marvel and DC are doing it, because comic book stores are wanting that. And I'm like, comic book stores aren't wanting that. They just want to make money. If you can bring them a better way to make a higher profit where the publisher also makes a better profit, then great. But if they can't, what other ways are there? And I'm designing some of those, which will be either people are going to be really upset with me and be like, you're a heretic, or they're going to be like, well, holy damn, like that worked. I'm hoping it's the latter.
Well, we want to work to save this medium, this art form.
And that's the biggest thing. It could go poof.
Yeah. And it won't, as long it's people who are really passionate about it that will keep it going. Mm-hmm. Not companies.
No, that's correct.
The creators.
Yeah.
It's the people who tell the stories that keep it going. You know, from all of comics, all of it, from Superman, Dick Tracy, the Phantom. Some people don't even know what the Phantom is.
Green Hornet.
And they should know the Phantom, right? You know, they should know these things.
Swamp Thing.
Right.
Fantastic.
And Spawn.
So, yes.
And so these are people made these things, you know, and it's creative people and artists that made these things happen. Okay, and that's we're going to be the ones that keep it going.
Yeah,
and you can't let people who are in charge, like I said, maybe a former lifeguard, he's not there anymore. You know who's still here? Me.
Yeah, and
I mean, if you look at all the people that were deterring. If somebody they're not even there anymore. Here I am 10 years later after I made Paranormal. I'm still here and still passionate about it. And people are just discovering it today. Somebody in the chat, was it
Roxy just checked it out.
I love the art. Yeah. Love the art. Just saw it. She just discovered it. She wouldn't have seen it if I would have quit. Okay? That's just the way it is, and that's the lesson learned, you know.
Well, my comic book failed. And I had about 3,000 people read it, but Kickstarter then and now are two totally different things. 7 years ago.
Yeah. And Kickstarters are hard, man. Trust me.
But instead of me quitting because I wanted to tell the story, I found a gap, and people that have watched the show have seen that, or have heard this, that I wanted, with all my marketing and business knowledge, I wanted to share that. Because if I had that kind of problem, other people in the industry are having a problem. So I was like, I'm going to help everybody else. And thus Spinwhiz Comics as a platform was born. But if I had left, it would be everybody doing the same thing over and over again. going to Comixology, trying to go to true trade shows, trying to print, and now hopefully I'm creating something. While it's not there yet, in the next month it will be. And people are going to be like, well, hot damn. And I'm going to be like, dude, Howie had my back at the beginning. Marlin had my back at the beginning. The guys from all these other publishers saw something different, and they're like, you know what? We're going to try it. It doesn't cost us anything. And you actually give a shit. So we're going to try it.
Yeah.
Sorry, so I hope that
my dogs are going crazy.
No, that's okay. Well, listen, we have been talking for an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, man.
I mean, I like talking to you, but there's, people, there have been people all in there, Len is in here. He's like, we inspire. I'm glad that somebody actually said I inspire them, because, I mean, you are like a celebrity. I am just Jeff.
Me?
Dude, you have one of the best indie comics ever
Well,
sitting behind you. Like, and if you haven't read Paranormal yet, here's the link again. Like, it's free. Go read it. And if you like it, go hook the boy up. Buy a PDF. And we have print on demand, buy print on demand. And we have pre-orders for his new stuff. Just buy and then share it. If you can't, that's what I tell everybody. If you can't buy it, if you read it, if you can't buy it, share it. Share it with somebody else, because maybe they can. And then down the road, if you see something pop up and then you have money, then buy the new stuff. Send Howie a message. Tell him how great they think it is, because that fuels writers and creators to do more stuff when people just like it. Now, granted, money is nice too, because you need to be able to live.
Yeah, especially now.
Yeah. So anyway, closing thoughts, anything before we take off?
Well, I just want to thank everybody that listened to the show. I saw a bunch of my friends in there, and I appreciate it. Love you guys. And I want to thank you, Jeff, for Spinwhiz, for the chance to talk tonight, for human interaction. Which is special to me now. I never knew how special it is.
Anytime you want to, man, you call me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this. It was great to talk to you on the show and appear on your show, and I hope everybody enjoyed it, and I hope everybody checks out Paranormal at Spinwhiz. Read issues 1 through 4. Let me know if you like it, and if you did like it, give it a 5-star review on Goodreads, and also purchase the PDFs if you'd like.
Yeah,
if you can.
I love it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So listen, hang with me 1 minute. I'm going to sign off. Just hang out with me. Thank you for being here. It was awesome. We talk a lot online, but it was the first time we've gotten to see each other face to face ish.
Ish.
Yeah, ish. So hang out just for a minute. I'm going to be right back. I want to say goodbye to you offline, and I'm going to flip over. So have a great night. I'll be right back with you, and then everybody hang out with me just for a second. I'm going to do my thing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. What an amazing interview. What an amazing dude. Am I not, right? Like, I know a bunch of people came in here thinking, well, we already know Howie. But you didn't know me, so hopefully you like me. But even more so for those of you that have never met Howie or didn't know about him or didn't know he existed, because sometimes that happens. The world is a very big place. Go read it. He literally requested it to be free on the site so that people would read it. If you like it, buy it. If you don't have the money right now, share it. Tell other people about it. Somebody will do it, because as he grows, the next thing he's going to do is something that's never been out. It's going to be on Spinwhiz Comics. We're going to do pre-orders for it. We're going to do some hotness, and then you can pick it up. And again, we're all about, me specifically, I'm all about trying to make the money for the publishers. That's why they get 70% of the profit back. Instead of 50, or instead of this IP share and all this other garbage. It's just straight down the middle. So thank you everybody for being here. It was amazing. We're going to be back Sunday with somebody else. I don't know who it is right now. Wait a minute. I'll see if I can pull it up in quick form. I thought I had it up. I don't. Oh man, I'm not even prepared. Like, I'm usually really super prepared, and now I'm not prepared at all. So on Sunday, we are going to have, it's a good one, Travis Gibb from Orange Cone Press. He is going to be on, which will be amazing. And then we have Old Dog Digital the Wednesday, not Wednesday after that, and then Josh Nealis the Sunday after that. So we literally have a stacked 4 set, actually 5, because we had Oneshi Press on earlier in the week. So thank you all for being here. If you like it, tell your friends, show up, hang out, ask questions, say hello. You bet it. Amber, you're very welcome. And obviously, if you're on YouTube, check below for the links. Otherwise, we will see you next time. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And thank you again, Howie. And that's it. Have a wonderful night, everybody. I'll see you on today, Wednesday? Yeah, today's Wednesday. I'll see you. COVID brain. I don't know what day it is anymore. We will see you on Sunday. Talk to you soon. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Later.